Hey, I wanted to make a quick video about a topic I hit every once in a while, and this is sharing too much information or threatening your ex, or threatening anybody who you suspect has a potential personality disorder. I think part of the problem is we get in these situations where we think people are going to react the way we react or would respond the way we would respond. So we think that if we threaten them, to expose them, to call CPS on them, to call the police, to basically expose them, that they're going to be fearful. It'll snap them into step, so to speak, get them to not respond, but to back off, to think about what's going on and take some steps to protect themselves, which effectively is exactly what they do. The problem is they don't do it the way that we think they're going to do it. But before I jump into that, I'm Duane, and if you want to learn how to get your life back, break the cycles of abuse, rebuild the relationships with yourself and your kids, start right now by hitting the subscribe button, clicking the bell notification so you don't miss a thing. Okay, so I see this a lot, where on a bunch of different areas, where somebody will decide to tell the ex or tell the person that's targeting them that I am going to expose you. And like I was just talking about a minute ago, we think that they're going to recoil in fear. The problem is they respond like a trapped animal, and they typically basically attack. Time and time again, people can feel like they have the high road, that they have the winning position, and oftentimes they do. And this particular scenario is coming from a gentleman who is in this situation, and his ex has just torpedoed him in family court, accused him of domestic violence, got him arrested, and now he's dealing with a family court case, a criminal case. Ultimately, it looks like he's probably going to prevail, but that's the situation. I think he initially thought that if he threatened his ex, or at the time his wife, saying, look, knock this off or I'm going to call CPS, that she would calm down, stop it, and back off. Guys, you have to anticipate, if you're dealing with somebody like this, you have to anticipate that they're going to be incredibly vindictive, which is very typical, and pull out all the stops. I've often said in my situation, I think primarily the reason that it didn't go as far and as bad as it could is because of my career that had the potential of ruining it. And unfortunately in my situation, or fortunately I guess you could say, the ex didn't really want to be dependent upon herself. And yeah, she might want to have destroyed me, but it was more important for her to have her stability than to do that. If you're dealing with somebody who does not have that limitation or doesn't even have that desire or that thought, you really need to be careful, because destroying you is the best way to ensure that they're not exposed and that they get what they want. Think about it. Most of the time, a smear campaign is to control the narrative, to keep you on your toes, and to destroy your credibility so that whatever you're saying, no one's going to believe. So you got to keep that in mind. You're not dealing with somebody who thinks the same way that you do, that has fears the same way you do. These people, and I hate to say that, but they have a unique way of looking at things, and it's all about them and their self-preservation. That is their number one goal. Everything else is collateral damage. You are collateral damage. Your children are collateral damage. Family and friends, collateral damage. You really have to understand that. You have to make your peace with that, and you have to make damn sure that you do not put yourself in a situation that you get sucker punched or attacked without having the appropriate defenses. Now, fortunately in this story, and I breezed over it, so I don't have all the details, so you have to bear with me on that. This individual has a bunch of video evidence that's going to ultimately, or should ultimately, clear him of any wrongdoing. Thank God, right? So it's not completely a he said, she said situation. Plus, it looks like the evidence that she submitted to demonstrate that what he was doing shows that he didn't do anything. What I was reading is his criminal attorney and his family court attorney has looked at this and basically is like, This actually implicates her. Why would she even submit that? Here's the other thing to remember. Somebody like this looks at their situation in total. And what I mean is they look at the situation and their reality is real. Nothing else is real. Whatever they're saying, their narrative is real. And they will cherry pick every piece of information to, not to justify that, but to think that it justifies it. So like in this situation, I would imagine in her mind, looking at that video, she probably thinks that it's showing him in a bad light and validating her point, and she can't even look at herself on that. That actually works to our advantage a lot of the times because they'll undermine their own story. Okay, the second part about this I want to get into is this particular person is right in the middle of everything, right? Is dealing with the family court case, the criminal case. All of this is happening at the same time in real time. So this person is dealing with an emergency protective order and a temporary restraining order, and can't see his kids, was actively involved in the kids, and now it's not. Guys, you can't take what's happening right this moment and equate it to your forever. This part, or family court in general, takes a long time. It's a very slow process. And actually, when I was reading this, that's what he was saying the attorneys had said to him. It's like, hey, you're going to prevail on this, but you're going to have to go through the motions. It's going to go through the process. It is critically important that you understand this. You focus on the long term. Like I often say, you got to focus on winning the war, not the battle. This guy's already lost a couple of battles. And typically that's what happens. Typically you get sucker punched. You're not really prepared for what's going to happen. It happens, and you're left on your heels trying to recover. Unfortunately, that part's normal. Focus on the long term. Focus on getting to where you need to go. This person has the evidence that's going to vindicate him, more than likely. Just focus on that. Don't let the stress of that drive you to make bad decisions. I really get that that's easier, much easier said than done, but you really have to look at it that way, right? You're dealing with a situation that you weren't expecting to deal with. Most of the time, you're dealing with it in a way that you never even thought would happen. I don't know how many times in my situation I thought I understood how things were going to play out, only to walk into a meeting or walk into a court case or a mediation, a three-way or a multi-attorney conference, and walking out going, what just happened there? This takes time. Focus on the long term. Listen to what people are telling you when they're talking about the process and the time. One of the things that really messed me up emotionally is I thought you go to court, you get it done, resolved, and it was a pretty tough day whenever it was explained to me. It's like, no, you have your preliminary, temporary hearing, and then you come back to see if you can agree to stuff. And if you don't agree to stuff, they might give you some more time, and then you come back again to tell the judge you can't agree. Then they set a trial date, then, plus whatever else discovery that you all have. And I remember whenever I was told that, I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, and I'm looking at it going, oh my God, $1,000 every time the attorney even shows up to court, not even counting all the countless hours and fractions of minutes that are charged leading up to it. It blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to financially ruin me. I think if you understand that, you can make better decisions, and you're not sucker punched by it, or you're not surprised by it. I mean, I felt like I was jumping through flaming hoops throughout the process, and every time I turned around, there was some little, unfortunate nugget of truth that I just wasn't anticipating, didn't expect, didn't appreciate, that I had to deal with. So my advice for this person or anybody who's in that situation, one, don't, if you think you're dealing with somebody who's very emotionally abusive or probably has a personality disorder, play your cards close to your chest. Find an exit strategy that is actually going to work. Realize that your ability to communicate with this person to try to come to some reasonable solution is about as close to zero as you possibly can get. Everything that you do where you forget that or you don't play into that, it puts you at significant risk, because it's it gives the other person an opportunity to play a card or play a scenario that you wouldn't even imagine. Again, I think a lot of us think about it, it's like, well, I've never done XYZ. No one would ever accuse me of doing XYZ. I don't even need to worry about it. And then I get emails from people saying, oh my God, this is what happened. What in the world do I do? But bottom line is that it's a cautionary note to think about what's going on, to recognize your enemy. Unfortunately, our spouses in the early stages of this, they are our enemy. And I don't think we realize it. I think we don't realize how vindictive and evil a person can be. And this just is not a husband and wife thing where the husband's always vindictive or the wife's always vindictive. It can be either one. Anybody who's an emotionally abusive, manipulated person who is high on the narcissism scale, who probably, if they were evaluated by a professional, would be diagnosed with a personality disorder, is completely unpredictable on what they potentially can do. The problem is we never really believe or think that they would do it. So be cautious of your way forward. Be methodical about how you approach things. Play your cards close to the vest. Make sure that you have everything lined up. I mean, this gentleman that I was talking about had video evidence and stuff that's ultimately going to help him. But you got to be really careful, and it's a tough thing to say. And I know that most of us who are in the beginning parts of this, you just don't believe it. I didn't. Whenever I started this whole process, I'm like, my ex can't be. I mean, yeah, she's a little unpredictable and a little self-centered, but I mean, she's not gonna do that. She's not gonna try to, destroy my relationship with the kids, ruin my reputation, try to go after my career. Yeah, they will. They will do whatever they can to win. If they feel like you're gonna expose them, they can do unimaginable things to protect themselves or their perceived reputation. So keep that in mind. If you're dealing with this, I'd love to hear how you've been dealing with it down in the comments below. Maybe give some ideas to other people who might be struggling with this, or if you've dealt with this in the past. If you know somebody who could use this video, please consider sharing it with them. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.